Hi everybody, this video is about the full moon in Aries. Here. This full moon is on the 8th of October and it's in Aries at 14 degrees. The Aries Libra axis has a theme of relationships, and as usual some of us will feel this lunation more than others. If your ascendant Sun or Moon is in Aries or in cardinal signs of Libra here, Cancer or Capricorn, then you will be most impacted by this full moon in Aries. And even more if some planets or points in your chart are close to about 15 degrees, because like in Libra, then you have an opposition, and then Cancer and Capricorn you will have a square. So let's say if you have anything like from 10 to 20 of the cardinal signs, then you feel this full moon the most. And yes, the full moon is always in opposition in between the sun, which the sun is now here in Libra at 14 degrees, and the moon on the opposite sign in Aries at 14 degrees. So this is a theme of relationships, because Aries represents the number 1 of the self, and Libra is the number 7, the 7th house of our relationships with others. It represents partnerships of all kinds, any collaborations and associations with another person. Even our open enemies are seen from the 7th house. So because from Aries number 1, and then if you count every houses to Libra, it's the 7th house. So 1 ourselves, 7 other people. So yes, that is why the focus now is to bring balance as of Libra, and just for justice. So it's to bring balance and just equilibrium, and to readjust the scales in our relationships with others. So that's what we will be doing over the next 2 weeks. We will review what we need and what others want, in order to find a more harmonious outcome for all involved. This full moon in Aries brings themes of fighting with someone or something, or an internal battle. Full moons don't change our lives like eclipses can do at times, but full moon can awaken and shine light onto what was already there under the surface. This means that although October is not a month as extreme as the last few months have been, it is still going to be intense, because with this full moon in Aries, we may react rather than respond. The moon in Aries is in a combative and dynamic mood. It is eager to argue and to react quickly to provocation without thinking of the consequences first. The moon in Aries is not really at its happiest mood. It's not in detriment or in fall in this sign, but still, Aries squares Cancer, see here, and so that's why the moon in Aries is not feeling comfortable in this sign, because it squares its own house. So the downside is feeling anger, friction, and tension when the moon is in Aries. On the positive side, this Aries moon is about starting something new, initiation, initiating new plans and pioneering goals born out of an impulse and doing so independently. So Aries is always looking for the next new thing, and being in the now matters more than weighing the pros and cons of acting on instinct. So now doing is more important than not doing for fear of imperfection. And this is a time of action when we can feel a burst of energy to change or complete important tasks because we have increased motivation to succeed at this time. It's also a good time to be more physically active than usual, to take initiatives, or to start a new workout routine. Because we have to balance our personal priorities with those of others, the question of this full moon is, to do the things we need to do, how much do we have to compromise with others? This full moon has a scorpionic feel to it because the sun is in Libra, and so the sun is ruled by Venus, who is in Virgo, and Venus is ruled by Mercury, who is in Scorpio. And then it goes back around to Mars. Mercury is ruled by Mars, who is also in Scorpio. And Mars is the ruling planet of this full moon. And Mars is doing the blue aspect here, a quincunx to this full moon. So that means that we feel some irritation, like something is a mismatch, or it could be like a disconnect. That's what a quincunx is like. Because when there's a quincunx, the two planets cannot see each other. So it's hard to, see eye to eye. Mars here in Scorpio is in its own domicile. So he is strong in Scorpio because he's in full possession of his capacities to act, to plan, and to act and execute his plan until completion. Mars in Scorpio act with intense focus and determination. And also Mars in Scorpio is less into instant reaction than Mars in Aries would be. Mars in Scorpio, he likes to strategize, plans with strategy before executing his plan with precision, courage, and persistence. Also, Mars in Scorpio has a lot of self-control in his actions. And it's good for planning how to penetrate our psyche or any situations silently and skillfully. As if someone stabbed us in the back. That's a bit like Mars in Scorpio energy, betrayal. That's like the shadow side, like the downside of Mars in Scorpio, like at its worst. The Mars in Scorpio attack is often seen and felt when it's too late to easily retaliate. And it's a bit like cooking poison and then serving it to your target with a smile on your face, basically. But on the positive side, Mars in Scorpio is a sharp knife that can deeply penetrate the psyche, to search and find deeper truth, and to become more authentic as a result. Mars in Scorpio provides a piercing X-ray vision of what is false and inauthentic in ourselves and others. So like I said, I think earlier, Mercury is also here at 0, just entered Scorpio. And Mercury represents our rational, intellectual, and communicative side. It is active in all exchanges with others. And Mercury is squaring Pluto. As you can see, Mercury is here. Pluto is here at 1 degree of Aquarius. There's a red line, which means a square. So Mercury square Pluto. And this is a 10th aspect, which means that, yeah, that Pluto intensify, already it's a 10th aspect, and Pluto intensify whatever planet it touches. So, and already Scorpio is an intense sign as well, because it's also, Pluto also rules Scorpio, and Mars rules Scorpio. Like Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio, and then Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio. So basically, and plus the square, all that is very intense. Scorpio, Pluto, and then the square. So, and now we are talking about, a 10th aspect with Pluto. Signal increased communication in general. Because, Pluto intensify. It's a lot of communication, a lot of intense communication. So there's a lot of things that must be discussed, and yet mutual understanding may be difficult because messages are likely to be more emotionally charged than usual, and heightened sensitivities can hinder dialogue. When Mercury is in Scorpio as of now, when Mercury square Pluto, harsh words may be exchanged. So watch for impatience, skepticism, and at worst even fanaticism. So yeah, it's not only a chilled vibe. It can be like a lot of suspicion as well with Mercury square Pluto, overthinking of something and like seeing the worst of the situation. So, but thankfully, it's not going to stay long, because it's just like 2 days after the aspect will be already, waning. So now Mercury is still in Scorpio as I speak. So the mind becomes more suspicious, obsessive on a certain topic, and into secrets and hidden motives. So on the positive side, if you want to see the truth of any situation, then now you might actually see the truth, It's great for investigations, scientific studies, in-depth search, self-analysis, deep psychological realizations. And when Mercury is in Scorpio, or if let's say you have it in your own natal chart, Mercury in Scorpio, if you have displacement, you might be interested in occult knowledge or in developing an intuitive mindset at this time. With Mercury square Pluto, we see the whole truth of what we have to transform, and then whole truth. These are all Pluto keywords. So we see the whole truth of what we have to transform to be able to start this new beginning, because of the sign of Aries, which is all about new beginning. And Pluto has been retrograde also, and it just recently now it shows as retrograde, for example, on this chart. But as you can see, yeah, so as you can see, the R of the Pluto, that means that now it's retrograde, and like now it's not, now it's stations. So yeah, on the 14th of October, like about in 1 week, Pluto is going to go direct. That means that now Pluto is a station. So that means that the energy of Pluto is being intensified at this time from now, let's say, to, for the next week also. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of intensity in the air as Pluto is now standing still, is preparing to move direct, and Pluto was retrograde for 5.5 months. Yeah, so overall we can say that the fact that Pluto is changing direction from retrograde to direct, it's like a deep psychological reboot. So Mercury represent news, communication, and speech. On this full moon in Aries, because Mercury is in Scorpio, you see it is the apex planet of like what's called a yod, which I have spoken to in my last, I think, eclipse video. But anyhow, yeah, so this is the apex of the yod. The yod is because they are two quincunx or inconjunct, these two blue line. So Mercury is quincunx to Uranus, and Mercury is quincunx to this Neptune and Saturn. And then because yeah, Uranus is sextile with Neptune and Saturn, and that's what is called a yod pattern, or a yod pattern, or some people call it fingers of God. Basically, that's what this is. So this means that because it's Mercury, and I explained all about Scorpio and Mercury in Scorpio, and then with Pluto and the square, all that. Because of all this mixed together, we can conclude that some unpleasant news, might show up. And yeah, and in general, a yod, it says that it will alter, it will change the course of where we are going. So let's say we go into one direction, when there is a yod, some fated event might happen, and then, we might change our plans, or our plans might change. And now, because it's Mercury, which talks about messages and communication, it might be the change might come through a communication, if that makes sense. So yod patterns, yeah, it's like fate is pointing at you, because it does look, isn't it, like an arrow or a finger when you think about it. And then fate is pointing at you in this direction. And so with Mercury, we are thinking deeply, we are vocalizing those deep changes that we need. We want to communicate with absolute truth and transparency. And we also want to form intimate bonds with one another. However, we are also feeling a little shocked by what's going on out in the world. So also with Mercury in Scorpio, there is an intensification of how we are thinking, and we can also think more clearly about the changes we want to make. We are inclined to think about and also to acknowledge our fears and shadows. It is a very good energy for research, detective work of all kinds. And yeah, it's also good for having really deep and powerful conversations. And the Sun in Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus herself, she has just passed the south node of past conditioning. So this means that Venus has purged, or she lost or let go of something. And also that there is still some unprocessed, lingering feelings at this full moon. A harsh experience is left behind. And we are now going to start something new. Venus is opposite to Saturn. Saturn is here at 27 degrees of Pisces. Yeah, and so yeah, Venus is opposite Saturn, and now she just passed the south node in Virgo. So we can say that before rejecting others' feedback about ourselves, we can look at what they said and see if there is anything we need to purify in our relationships. Sometimes other people's judgment or criticism are projections, and are other times, if we have the courage to analyze ourselves, then we might find some truth into it, into what other people said. And then we can work on self-improving ourselves. This is all the energy of Virgo. That's why I'm saying it. Because the higher vibration of Virgo is purification. That is why everyone is concerned by Virgo themes. Because on this planet, no one is perfect. And Virgo is about spiritually, mentally, and physically, cleaning up our health, cleaning our energy. So, and Venus conjunct the South Node is also about something that comes loose, a separation, moving away from something, or walking away from someone. It's like something that dissolves, a disconnection. And with Venus in Virgo, in general, we want to sort things out in our thought, in our mind, in our belongings, and in our environment. It's all about cleaning up and sorting things out. With Venus and the South Node, also old relationship patterns are being released. And then you are inviting in a new frequency. That's why things are, something, not everything, something might be living your life because, that's just the law of nature, that something goes and then something new will come. And there are going to be new opportunities waiting for you. And also probably, one of your values will evolve. Some old habits have to be left behind to welcome something new. And then there will be something new coming in when we can see that here with Venus sextiling Jupiter. Jupiter who is in Cancer and is exalted. And yeah, Jupiter is doing like a wide orb square to this full moon. But yeah, Jupiter is going to meet with Venus exactly on the 8th of October. So something, might come. That's a good thing that, Venus Jupiter is like one of the, luckiest aspect or, happiest feelings. And the thing is that after the sextile with Jupiter, Venus will also be opposing Saturn. So there's going to be like a reality check. So maybe, like stay grounded in reality until after the 11th of October. Like on the 12th, Venus will have passed this opposition with Saturn here in Pisces. And so this way you will avoid disappointment because, something good will come. But sometimes with Jupiter, we are over optimistic. And then when also we see that Saturn is coming after, which Saturn is the opposite of Jupiter. So the opportunity might be good, but we will know we will know really how good it is from the 12th of October. Even then, Venus will be also opposing Neptune on the 14th of October. So there again, it might feel good and look good, but it might be a disillusion. This all can lead to like some disappointment. Basically, with Venus matter of relationships and money in general, and self-worth, as well, and things that we value. And the woman. So all this, is good to kind of stay, a bit realistic as to avoid disappointment, because like for example with Neptune you can think of something that looks perfect on the outside, like a apple, like the story with Snow White when the apple is so red and you want to eat the apple, and that's Neptune when you look at this red apple and you desire it. And then in fact when the Neptune effect is gone, you can see now clearly that the apple is rotten, and you can't even eat this apple because it's yeah, it's nothing like you thought it was. It's where, it's the opposite of it. You can't even eat it. So that's what I'm saying right now. So yes, I did say that Venus is going to, then go into Libra, where, she's at home in Libra. It's her own sign. She rules Libra. So whatever happened now, they know that from the middle of the month, I think the 13th or 40th of October, when Venus goes in Libra, matters of beauty, relationships, love, yeah, all these are going to, and money matters as well, it's all going to improve. And then yeah, Venus is going to trine Uranus and Pluto. So that's lighter energy that what's going on now. um yeah, so the advice for this full moon in Aries is to manage your aggressive impulses if ever you feel some if ever you feel upset at this time. It's best to use the Mars in Scorpio vibe, which is to strategize a plan, with an solution, rather than impulsively lash out and create more chaos. Yeah, because at this time, either you'll be delivering an honest truth, or someone will be telling you, some kind of uncomfortable truth. And so we all have to be willing to see and hear whatever news, is coming up at this time. And yeah, like internally process it rather than, lash out onto someone if they trigger us. Overall, to know where this full moon is going to impact you in your own chart, you have to look at where is the Aries house of your chart. If you don't know where the Aries house is in your chart, then think about what is going on now in your life, where you are at now, in your own psyche, in your heart, and in your soul. Yeah, and think about how all those things I spoke about are resonating with you at this moment in time. So to conclude, this is a time of rebalancing and justice in between us and others, in between you and others, the Aries and Libra axis. Everything that makes us in relation with another. This is about restoring and rebalancing communication and fair exchange, which need to find equilibrium. Because the Sun is in Libra and because Venus opposites Saturn who is exalted in Libra. So both Venus and Saturn talk about relationships, and then the Sun is in Libra, the sign of relationships. Therefore, we are guided to do a review of the structures, Saturn is structures. We are guided to do a review of the structures and ways of thinking in our relationships, which don't allow us to be authentic and fair in who we want to be and in how we relate to others. So if you would like me to have a look and highlight for you what transit and what events are upcoming for you in the next 12 months, you can check out my website and services in the link below in the description to see what's activated in your birth chart, and also you can get a birth chart from my website if you don't already have one, and I can look at your upcoming transits and future lunations. And thank you to have watched my videos. I have to say that at some point I had to retake some of it because I had some technical issues, so I did repeat myself many times. And thanks to have watched to the end. And then if you like my video, yeah, you can like it, you can subscribe, share your comments, and yeah, I wish you a happy full moon in Aries. Bye for now.